You are listening to Processing Trauma Out Loud, conversations about trauma and healing from two women who are doing the work.
Hey everyone, it's Kandace and Sher with Processing Trauma Out Loud. Back to do part 2 in a series that Sher and I have started on being wild women of desire. And what a vast topic. I'm kind of nervous about this topic, but I'm excited about this topic. And I feel like we've been living this topic. Because we have had a war, an internal war with desire.
Yeah.
And so, Sher, you and I just went over a few things about how before we can really know what we desire, we really have to get a sense of what we need. And it may sound like, oh, we know what we need. Not always. Many times our coaches, and sometimes you and I do this, well, just like, well, what do you feel like you need right now? Well, I don't know. What are my options? I know I've heard you say that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we felt like it would be helpful to just look at Erik Erikson's hierarchy of needs to get a sense of just some of the basic needs that if we are not having those met, we're so preoccupied with that the thought of desiring something more than survival is outside of our realm of possibilities. You know, we start out with these physiological needs for air, for water, for food, basic needs to keep us alive. And then the needs for safety, for protection, for personal security, to have the resources that we need in order to live. And then we look at the deep need that we have for love and belonging, healthy touch, friendship, intimacy, being connected. I mean, we know that literally babies can't survive without touch. And then we're looking at like these esteem needs that we have of, you know, kind of how we feel about ourselves and having self-respect and dignity and strength and freedom, just those esteem needs that make us feel like we matter. But when we have those needs met and they're growing, it allows us to what Erik Erikson calls self-actualize or self-actualization. Sher, I was talking to you a little bit about this before we post-record, and I remember back in the day, it would have been in 1989, when I was getting my degree in psychology, that idea felt so, I'm going to just say worldly. And now I'm like, wow, because I shut that down, I just thought, just survive.
Yeah.
Crumbs will keep you alive. Crumbs of these needs being met. And I really had to do a lot of work. And I remember when I came back to this hierarchy of needs, and I thought, wow, self-actualization. And here's what this says. I'm reading off of a thing that I copied. It says, a desire to become the most that one can be. I mean, who really wants that for us ultimately? Maybe our creator? What do you think?
I think it's beautiful to recognize that when we have our other needs met, that opens the door for us to be fully alive and free and wild, and to have desires for abundant goodness and to not be ashamed of having those desires. It's interesting as you gave that information, Kandace, and in your comments that you made, you used the word survive, I think at least 3 or maybe 4 times, that we are very accustomed to surviving, not thriving. I love your mantra for 2025. And
coming alive.
Be alive, not just survive. But we have known most of our lives, most people, I will say, most people that I have known, I think we're much more just in these places of survival. We're not even free to be thinking about self-actualization, or in other words, who am I as the woman I was created to be? Instead, we're slogging along through life often being satisfied enough with crumbs because our basic needs really have not been met or are not being met. And we've lost the ability even to use our voice to ask for what we need. Or as you said, often we struggle to really put our finger on what it is that we even need.
Someone is struggling because of maybe early programming or something that they've heard that they just have believed, but something feels off. Well, it is true that we can't give others what we don't have first. The idea of having our needs met and becoming all we are created to be is because that's where the overflow comes to where we have so much to offer and give to the world, to give to our friends, to give to our family, to give to our kids. If we're still fighting for our basic needs to be met, and if we are, there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to express that. This isn't about you're at the wrong place. It's about what place are you at and what needs do you know that you have?
Absolutely. And last week we talked about normalizing some things. And I think here's another place to just say, like, the normal state of most humans is in the place of survival. We're not made for that. We're made for thriving and being fully alive. But because of hurts and wounds and unhealed traumas and broken people and broken parents, and I don't know, maybe broken isn't a good word. Pardon me?
I don't know, broken systems. I mean,
broken systems. It's just a reality of the world that we live in and the way that our life is. That has been normal. But the truth is, none of us are satisfied with it. We were made for more, and our heart, our body, and our soul and our spirit longs for more. And that's what we're talking about here. How do we identify our desires if our needs have not been met? And you ended our episode last week stating it, and I thought it was just right on. We have to go back to this place of needs. And what are my needs that have not been met? And how do I begin moving towards? So if I have a need for good nutrition and I have all kinds of symptoms in my life that are a result of, I eat McDonald's hamburgers every day or whatever, the first thing that I need to really look at is I need to get some carrots and green beans in my diet. And that will begin to help me become free and whole because my basic needs for nutrition are being met. Mm-hmm. This goes across so many levels from, like you said, the physiological needs and all the way up how many does he have? Is it 5 different levels?
Yes. So you're looking at your physical needs, your emotional needs, your mental needs, your spiritual needs. It's just all there.
Your relational needs, your needs for connection and care from another person and feeling a sense of being loved. It's easy to overlook this. These are basic needs of life that if we don't have, we're in a state of survival. We're not.
Yes, go back and listen to last week's episode when Sher and I declare it's okay to be needy. We're needy. And what's not okay is to shame our need or to shame other people's need. Because that, I just want to say, let's slow down. And I'm talking to myself too. Yep. I just told you that earlier. Sher, I think I just need to slow down a little because this pace of life that we live, it really is the survival life because those needs for beauty and goodness and relationship and connection and freedom is usually found in a very intentional, focused life.
And our heart longs for that. And we have to find our tribe. I think I'm just going to say that it's not easy. And I know a lot of times people are looking for how do I find people that speak this language, or how do I find the people who I can say I'm needy, or I don't even know what I need, right? And that there will actually be somebody that will move in close and say, I want to help you discover what that is. But this is what we need. Women were made for connection with other women. And especially in our society today, we are living these lives where we are so disconnected, and we're running, and we're busy, and we're striving, but we're missing the depth of relationships with other women. That it's a basic need. It's something that we really, if we could if we could help one thing happen in the world, I think it would be, we would love to help women connect with other good women.
Ugh, it is so true. Yeah. And I just want to say, okay, we usually either lean towards being more extroverted or introverted, or the pursuer, or the one that's waiting to be pursued, or an ebb and a flow. But here's what I say. Some of you may hear this and you're going to pick up the phone and do something about it. You're just kind of that type A. And then some of you may feel powerless and hopeless, and that you're not going to be the one to just try to go make this happen. If you happen to struggle in that, I do want to nudge you a little bit. Just send the email. I'm listening to these episodes and I'm wondering what my needs are, and I don't even know about desire at this point. Just let's have the conversation. And it doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to have fireworks. But I do want to hold that there are some people that are going to go after it, and there are some people that are just, they need pursued. And so we're pursuing you.
Yeah.
Pursuing you to say, connect with us. We care. And we can either help you get connected, or we'll explore what that looks like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I didn't premeditate this, but I'll also just give a shout out for story groups. A lot of story groups are getting started, or some that we know of. And I think this has been a place where you and I have story groups have just transformed our lives through the connections that we've made. And it's no guarantees ever, but it is such a beautiful place to make deeper connections with other women who are on a similar path, looking for similar things, desiring their needs to be met so that they can be free in discovering what it is that they really deeply long for.
You're going to ask our listeners a question, and we're going to kind of linger for a few seconds, but really we want to provoke some curiosity here through these questions, because we're going to have a few more episodes and just bring some questions. If you want to go ahead and just share that question, and then we're not going to talk a lot about it, but you came up with a lot of good questions for our group time a few weeks ago, and we wanted to bring them to our listeners.
Yeah. So the first one, and this is just for pondering, or write it down. I mean, if things come to your mind, write down what comes to your mind. But if you could get one thing, or two or three things right now that you deeply long for, what do you want? And that could be relationally, vocationally, financially, physically, personally, anything. No, if there's no parameters, but if you could actually get something that you are deeply longing for, what is it that you would want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm imagining people, boom, 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 just naming them. And then I'm actually imagining a few people have some tears right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm imagining people who are freezing and saying, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that too. We really do.
We do. Yeah. Good conversation, friend. And I look forward to coming back next week to talk more about being wild women of desire.
Such a great topic. And I really hope that our listeners are hearing our heart in this as we're bringing some good information. I think this hierarchy of needs is profound. It's been around forever in a sense, but it's good to come back to it. But to really, I hope that our listeners hear our heart for, can we begin to open in new ways that are going to be profoundly impacting in our lives going forward? That's our desire.
Yes, it is. Good to be with you.
Great to be with you too, Kandace. Love you so much.
Love you too.
Thank you for listening to Processing Trauma Out Loud. Make sure to check out the show notes for links to suggested resources and social media. Like, subscribe, and follow to keep up with our weekly content. And if you don't mind, take a moment to rate and review us. Your feedback is extremely valuable and contributes to the success of this podcast. One last thing. If you have found this podcast helpful in any way, or if you have questions on how to take the next steps on your healing journey, please reach out to us via email at KandaceSher@gmail.com. That's KandaceSher@gmail.com. Our sound engineer is Jeremiah Jones of Audit Story LLC. We welcome you to join us for more conversations soon. Take care.